Hey.
Hello, internet pedal people, nerds, like us. I'm Gabor.
Hey, I'm Alex, and welcome
To the super fun, awesome, happy pedal show. Happy time pedal show.
Yes.
We don't even know what we're called. Today we've got the Amptweaker Tight Fuzz.
Yeah, and this has got a loop in it, so we're running a Love Pedal Echophonic Junior delay.
Delay in the loop, just to, you know, show off what the loop can do and how it all works.
Yeah.
Before we start, I've got my 1981 Ibanez AS100 335 style guitar with all stock pickups, everything, sort of PA style pickups in it.
Cool.
And you have...
Hey, I've got this Tompkins telly type guitar.
Tell me more about it.
Well, this is built by Alan Tompkins, who is builds great guitars. Lives down in New South Wales somewhere, I believe, and it's all Australian timbers, and it feels amazing to play. Necks are incredible, so worth checking out too. But we can do a clean tone thing too.
Let's.
There we go. They're off now.
And that's your clean tone going into a Seriatone OTS Mini 20, which is a Dumble sort of vibe, kind of sort of thing. Going into an isocab, which is over there, loaded with a Celestion
Greenback.
Greenback. God, one day I'll get it right.
It's just a black round thing.
It's one of them speaker thingies that makes sound go loud. And stuff. All right, okay, so the Amptweaker Tight Fuzz. Very sturdy housing. I doubt you could, you know, destroy this in any way, shape or form. The knobs, everything, super, super, super heavy duty. Has lots of knobs, lots of little fliggity thingies on it.
Switches. Switches they call it.
I'm not from this country. You have your volume, your tone, fuzz, which is your gain basically, and a tight control, which we'll get into later on, which kind of does funny things to the fuzz. Then we also have three little switches there, which you may not be able to see from here. Hello. We've got a tone switch where you can select between a 60s and 70s style tone. Mm-hmm. You have a transistor switch which selects between germanium or silicon transistor, and you have an edge switch which makes it nothing or smooth.
Right.
Well, on one side it doesn't say anything, so it's either off or smooth.
Right, gotcha.
Yes. And you have a very big little switchity-witchity thing here, which, if you don't use the power supply, but the battery, which, by the way, I've got to show this, a little drawer for it on the side. How cool is that? If you use the battery, you can actually switch the battery off, or you can switch the connection off, so you can leave it on your pedal board plugged in, but you just switch it off so it doesn't use the battery. And on the bottom, it has another switch where you can switch the effects loop to being pre or post gain stage.
Okay.
So lots of stuff. All right, so we started off the little thing you played in the intro. We had it set to the 60s setting with a silicon transistor, and the smoothness was switched off, or the edge was switched off, with the gain almost on full. So let's check out the different transistor and tone sounds. So
yeah.
Do you want to do that? So
sure.
Let's start off. Let's go probably the lowest gain setting of all of them. By the way, the fuzz or gain is almost all the way up.
Yeah, it's not super high gain, is it?
It's not a super high gain pedal, no. And if you switch it down to 60s tone and germanium transistor, it probably is the least gain setting out of all of them. So let's see what that sounds like. Oh, let's turn it on and then do it.
Cool.
Now, if we
kind of like a crunchy overdrive type sound.
Crunchy, exactly right.
Ish.
So let's turn the tight knob all the way down, and let's see what the difference is in that. Makes it a bit fuzzier. Less overdrive, a bit fuzzier. Okay, so now let's leave it on 60s and let's go from germanium to silicon.
Okay.
more gain. Bit fuller, bit more bottom end maybe.
A bit more weight to it. So.
Yeah. And maybe a little bit raspier. So now let's go back to Germanium and 70s.
Ooh.
So a little bit more gain than before. In the sort of the 70s seem to be a bit more. It has boosted a little bit more and a little bit fatter as well to my ears.
I think so.
Now let's go 70s silicon. So that's the highest gain setting probably.
Yeah, it's starting to get bigger and fatter and fuzzier, really.
Yeah. So now let's check out the smooth switch.
Ooh.
So let's go. Let's stick with 70s silicon, and let's see how we can make it smooth.
Is it on?
No, start with it off, and I'll flick it over.
I got you. Oh, that was the wrong key.
So it sort of makes it smoother, kind of like the knob says. So I think it kind of rolls off a little bit of top and bottom end probably, or smoothens it out a little bit.
Definitely top end.
Definitely top end, yeah. Okay, so now, so far, we've had the tight knob all the way down, which probably is the fuzziest setting. So if you wanted fuzzy, have tight down. The more you turn tight up now, and I'm cranking the gain by the way now.
Yep.
So I'll start moving it from totally off to totally on the tight knob. So it kind of turns it from a fuzz into almost an overdrive.
Yeah.
So it goes from a kind of scooped sound of almost like a big muffy, kind of like a low gain big muff, to kind of a overdrive.
Hmm. Do you want to hear it with humbuckers? Because that'll
Yes.
push the front end.
Let's. Oh, hang on.
Get more rock and roll.
Clean tone.
Oh, like my soloing. Nice. So that's the I was just playing with the gain control.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, the fuzz control, which is gain.
Okay.
The yeah, it cleans up a lot.
Yeah. You can get it to almost like just breakup.
Yeah.
Could actually, you know what? Let's try something that we haven't really tried before.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
change the channel to the dirty channel on the amp. So this is the
I want to watch that master
volume. Yeah, turn it down a bit.
Go without the pedal. So that's the dirty channel on the amp.
And then let's turn the gain down. Works quite nice.
Yeah.
And
Definitely
this is,
sounds fuzzy because it's hitting that front end
yeah,
of a already dirty.
of a already dirty amp.
Yeah.
And that was with fairly high gain, so but it sounded quite nice. It sort of boosted quite nicely. So, and I mean that's one of the applications, and that's where the effects comes in handy too. So you can use it to drive your already driven amp and add a bit of delay for some lead, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing we should quickly do is just check the before and after, the pre and post on the effects loop. So we right now I think we're set to post.
I think so. We'll have to double check.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Got to turn that up a bit. Alright, now let's switch it to pre. So this is now pre-gain stage. So much more in your face.
yeah. I'm not sure how technically it's working, but what it feels like is what was the first setting?
Pre.
Pre.
No, post.
It was post.
Now it's pre.
When it's post, it feels like the delay's part of the sound rather than an effect.
Yeah.
As well as the drive.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, this is where, depending what effect you use, because it doesn't have to be delay, it can be anything you put in there. You can put other drives in there or whatever you want to put in there. Yeah, so it just depends on what you want to use. You can select it. It just gives you lots of options, which is great. So I think that's it, isn't it?
I think so.
Pretty much. So that's the Amptweaker Tight Fuzz. Check out Amptweaker. Lots of great stuff. They seem to be very sturdy, very well made pedals.
Absolutely.
Good sound quality. Also, I should mention, also for a fuzz, it has, and this is where, you know, if I know much more about this stuff, it would sound much better. But it has an input buffer of some sort that controls the bias of it automatically. So quite often with fuzzes, if you run things like wahs in front of it, or depending on the pickups of your guitar, the fuzz will be affected quite differently. Now this has an input buffer that adjusts the bias automatically, which means it doesn't matter what you run into it, it'll always kind of sound the same. It stays true to what it is.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to worry about where you put it on your board, your signal chain.
Because with a lot of fuzzes, especially the more vintage style fuzzes, you can get huge differences in tone, and quite often very harsh feedback and squealy sounds depending on where you place it. So that's the Amptweaker Tight Fuzz, and make sure to click subscribe to our channel, please. The super fun, awesome, happy time pedal show. Tell your friends, tell your families. Also in the description below there'll be a link to our Facebook page. Make sure to like that, and again tell all your friends and families. If you have any suggestions, any comments, any pedals you want us to review, let us know and we'll talk and yeah, your people and our people will talk, and we'll get there. So that's it for us, I think.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Bye.
See you next time.